Hi, I'm Corey.
And I'm Mel.
Join us as we travel Australia with our daughter and our dog
In our 200 series Land Cruiser and our Jayco Journey Outback. Welcome to this week's episode. So we have made it to WA. When we left, we didn't think we were coming to WA because borders were locked shut tight. There was no way anyone was coming or going. But they've now opened the borders and we're heading into WA. So there isn't a lot. We head off to Lake Argyle first. We were only there overnight, so there's just a few happy snaps of our time at actual Lake Argyle, the lake, dam wall, and the Bly homestead, if I got that correct. No, it wasn't the Bly homestead. There's a homestead there, Durack homestead. There's so much we've seen and done since then. We're about to leave. We're probably a week or two from leaving WA, and here you are getting us entering WA. And then what else have I got? Corey's got some mods in here. I go into the boring stuff, some boring stuff. I don't know what else is in this episode. You're just gonna have to watch it right to the end to see what I've packed into it for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, today we now journey west, and it ends up being a big day, but because of the time difference between the NT and WA, we actually decide to cross the border and stay at Lake Argyle. Okay, boring subject. This is taking me 50,000 times to film. It's driving me nuts. So I wasn't originally going to include this because there is so many different variables. I'm talking budget and money spending for 12 months on the road. Okay, where do I start? We've done this on our pure savings, so we are not getting any money coming in secretly from anywhere except for those few times we've stopped and Corey worked. This is all money we have saved before that, and at the start Corey was on long service leave, so we did have that, but otherwise it's all hard-earned cash we've spent. We have averaged 520 kilometers per week. So for those that work out dollar per kilometer, we then average spent $1,450, $1,450 per week. Now, for anyone adding that up into a year, it looks like we spent $75,000 for 12 months. But when someone's behind me, look at his face. No, he's all dark, so you can't see his face. But when I worked it out, we spent around, now I've got willow tree leaves blowing all over me because the wind decided to come through. What I worked out is around 65,000. Don't ask me how. There's a $10,000 difference. I think it was between 60 and 65. I'm not 100% sure. Yes, and you're probably going, oh, but you brought a caravan halfway through. Yeah, we did, but the changing over with caravan, none of that's included in that. That's been from one caravan to the other. That's been completely separate to this. This is just everyday spendings and costs. Now, with that being said, how can it be variable? It depends on the type of camping you do and the type of camping you're set up to do. So obviously free camping, low cost camping, caravan parks. You also have to, with that, you have to watch out for Obviously your caravan park chains, is it worth having a membership and using their deals? Then there's with some free camping or low cost camping, it is a patronage thing. So you've got pub stays, wineries are now getting onto it, or towns are getting onto having RV parking, and it's spend money in the town, pop a receipt in an envelope in the donations box. So you've got to be careful with those as to how much you spend and stuff. Next up, food, meals, eating out. So your variable here is obviously if you're at obviously what you eat, the type of food you eat, and it's also how much you eat out. Then the next one is allergies. If you haven't picked up yet, Corey's a celiac. It means we have gluten-free food. But then there's other allergies. There's dairy, there's nuts. If you want to cover groceries in this, it depends if you've got someone with sensitive skin and your eczemas and dermatitis. It all adds up. So basically our grocery bill is higher because of the food allergy, and then it also limits us to where we can eat out. And then some of those places where we can eat out are usually and can be more expensive places to eat. Next up, you've got attractions. If you're into natural attractions, free attractions, some natural attractions, you've got national parks passes, or you can only do tours. Depends if you can walk or not. So obviously we can walk. If you're an older pensioner getting up past those years, depends on how far you can and can't walk, and past injuries, knees, hips, how far you can walk. Obviously heart conditions, how far you can walk. What else have we got? Breathing conditions, asthma, emphysema, how far you can walk as to what attractions you do and can do. The list goes on, doesn't it? So there's variables in what attractions you can do, you choose to do, and they vary in costs from free to hundreds of dollars. So you need to decide, you do what you want to do, not what someone else is doing. You work out what you're into and what you want to see and do. From that, it then depends on how many people you have. Obviously, it depends on if you're a couple or a family. It depends on if you have pets. It obviously then, if you're a couple, if you're pensioners or not. So pets, regardless of Bentley being with us or not being with us, he's our dog. He would be with us. If he wasn't with us, we would still be sending money home to cover his costs of food and vets. So that for us is always a cost. Kids, depends on if you're a younger family and got kids under 2. Then some places you're lucky and under 5s are free, or some places start charging from 2. So there might be a 2 to 5 rate, and then you've got your primary rate, which is roughly your kindergarten to year 6, year 7. So basically 5 to 12, 14-year-olds, and then basically your teenagers, 14, 15 up, they then get charged at adult rates. So depending on how many children and how old your children are, depends on cost. So once again, it can be a big variable. We're now on to bills. So it depends on what subscriptions you have for streaming television shows. If you have kept your house, if you've got any bills incurred there. look, we have chosen to continue to put extra money into our super while we're still traveling. So look, we would have had more money to spend and we would have spent less money if we weren't doing that. So it's all a personal choice thing. So like I said, you do what you do, not what someone else is doing. You can take some of this as tips and advice. You can just go, oh, that's not us. So this is why it's so variable. Then there's always going to be like a repair or a mod, or if you've been away from major shops for a while and then you come into a big town with your big W's, your Kmarts, your Targets, your Coles, your Woolies, your BCF, your Anacondas, your RTMs. It's like, okay, so what do we need to get now while we're in a big town to stock up on get us to the next big town? So you're always, clothes, you got to replace clothes. Little things break. Obviously it's, cheaper to go to your bigger supermarket. It's like your Coles and your Woolies. If you get an Audi, you got an Audi. So there's constantly something going on with the car or the van or just general stuff. Like our frying pan died, but that was our frying pan from our house. So the frying pan was years old, and the bottom was just stuffed. So we actually, we bit the bullet and spent the money to get something that we could use as a frying pan, but it can be a casserole dish in the oven, or it's the actual Weber one. We can use it in the hooded barbecue, which eventually we've decided we're going back to our Weber. So, like I said, you do what works for you. Repairs, mods, car servicing, that's a cost that we're not used to, because, we are, but we're not. Corey having mates back home and being in the industry, he would go in and help with the labour on the car. That way it reduced the cost, whereas now we're having to pay for stuff full price, and everywhere's obviously different. Seasons, depending on what seasons you're traveling in. Your public holidays, watch out for those, because there's general ones like your Anzac Day, Easter, Christmas that are nationwide, and then there's all your different bank type, Labor Day type holidays that are varied from state to state. And then there's like show day. Where we're from, we don't have show day, but when you get to Queensland and the NT, they have show days. And there was something else here in WA that was a long weekend that we weren't used to it being a long weekend. Or we'd have long weekends at home, but it's not in the state we're in. So watch out for your public holidays. That's a sneaky one. School holidays, obviously watch out for your school holidays. And look at what state you're in. And every state has different school holidays, so just be mindful of all of that. And obviously seasons. So your lower half of the year, it's going to be busier and more expensive during your warmer months. The top half of Australia, it's going to be busier during your winter, cooler months. So that's seasons. Another one, probably schooling. Going back to how many children, ages of children, what type of schooling you going with will obviously affect how much you're spending as well. It can vary from a little to a lot. Now, money savers. I've already talked about caravan park, looking at caravan park chains, looking at caravan park deals. Then obviously you've got low cost camping and stuff like that. Not everywhere we've been surprised. We thought there'd be more low cost stuff, places that used to be low cost, and I've seen stuff that as from this year they're no longer being low cost. Same with national parks. Didn't have a cost before, but they're now introducing costs. So it could, we've also had an inflation in food prices and fuel prices in 2022 compared, and it's been a big jump in 2022 compared to previous years. So there's, like I said, there's so many variables. And then the other money savers, I suggest looking into, if you don't do already, is your flybys with your Coles chain shops, or your everyday rewards, which is your Woolworths chains. Any money or points I use back in on food, because that's always an ongoing cost. That's where I have used those. So that's it in a nutshell, spending. And so really the only way you can compare is if you're exactly the same, camp exactly the way we do, are into the and do the attractions that we do, have a dog, have a primary based age child and 2 adults. That would be the only way you could really go, okay, that's roughly what we're in for. It's so variable, but you know what, just get out there, see Australia, do what you want to do what you're into. Don't be influenced by us, don't be influenced by others, because it could make things very stressful, or you could be in for a shock and go, oh my god, I can't afford to do that, or oh my god, that's so cheap, I want to, let's go spend money here. Do you, because and don't compare yourself. That's one area where Corey struggled, probably mentally, was he kept comparing to others, instead of just focus on you and who you're traveling with, and that's it. Hope this helps. Might give you an idea and a rough guide, but as you can see with the variables, that's why I didn't really want to put it out there, but we were asked, and thank you. I will stop and say thank you. 2 questions that we get on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, and all the beautiful comments of support that we get. It's really lovely. It means a lot to us. So if we can help someone out there, that's an honor to us, in some way, you could say. And yeah, that's it. Enjoy the rest of this episode.
So, second fix for today. Hopefully, yep. So, the fridge latch. As you can see, the spring has broken. So, lucky enough, went in and checked local caravan reseller. They had a parts depot as well. They had one in stock. Comes with both halves, which we don't need both halves, only need the top half. Genuine Deptford. There's the part number. anybody needs it. Oh, there's also the part number, the Thetford part number on the front, just in case.
I think it's blurry.
So, $20, pretty cheap, and 2-second job to fit. They give you new screws and everything, but
And this, we don't know how it broke, do we?
no.
It was just one day on setup day.
I think it's just the spring in it is tiny, so I think just fatigue. So job done. How quick and easy is that one? I wish all caravan fixes were that easy.
Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and feel free to leave a comment down below. It means a lot to us when you guys subscribe. A lot.